One of the things that excite me the most about Lost Judgment is finding out how the criminal organizations will be operating in the story. I wonder if we'll ever get to see the Jomin Jewel or the Agent 3 in Yokohama, whether or not the Tojo clan is still a thing in Tokyo, or even if the Omi Alliance will finally get introduced into the series. Or at least, that's what I thought. Remember the first video I made on the canonicity of Judgment? At one point, I talked about the possibility of the Kyorei clan being associated with the Omi Alliance, and I quickly dismissed it due to lack of evidence. Well, someone in my comment section has actually made the point that they are, and that they might have even been the first few steps the Omi Alliance took in taking control of Tokyo, even making the point that this was foreshadowing the events of Yakuza 7. So for those of you who don't know this already, the way the country of Japan is structured is slightly different from several other countries like the United States, Canada, and even some European countries that tend to be split by provinces, states, districts, etc. In Japan, the equivalent of a district would be a prefecture, except each of them can be a part of specific regions that don't technically have any administrative establishments. One of those regions is called Kansai, and two of the most popular prefectures there are Kyoto and Osaka. Now, it was stated that the Kyorei clan are from Kyoto, and since the Omi Alliance have been implied to have a lot of power in this region, though more so in Osaka, the argument is that the Kyorei clan must be associated with them. I guess in some ways, I can see how it would make more sense for the Omi Alliance to supervise their operation instead of letting it happen, especially when Tojo is one of their biggest rivals. Honestly, I didn't think I'd have to discuss this just because it's too based on headcanon, though then again, this is an open discussion and I think all ideas should be put into the table so that we can find a way to interpret events that tie everything together. Unfortunately though, while I have backpedaled on my stance that Judgment isn't canon, I'm going to be brutally honest here and say that I don't think the Kyorei clan have really anything to do with the Omi Alliance because when you start to look deep into things, it just doesn't really add up. My first issue has to do with the idea that the Kyorei clan was serving as the first few steps to take over Tokyo. The thing is, I'm pretty sure that the Omi Alliance only started to invade Tokyo after the Tojo clan was wiped out. In fact, the first time the Kamurocho 3K plan was ever established in the story was during Adachi's conversation with Ichiban, and he verbatim said, and I quote, "With the Tojo clan almost completely wiped off the map, the Omi seized the opportunity and poured their guys into Kamurocho." This is very important because during the opening narration in Judgment, Yagami described the Tojo clan as being dominant in Kamurocho, which completely contradicts Adachi's statement if the Kyorei clan are meant to be members of the Omi Alliance. And even discounting the statement, this also just wouldn't add up with Aoki's campaign. You see, around chapter 9, Adachi said that the reason why Aoki gained support from the public was specifically because he destroyed the Tojo clan. Now, regardless if he started the Kamurocho 3K plan before or after he became governor, it would still mean that his number one goal would be to wipe out the Tojo clan, which would make him gain public support. If he let the Omi Alliance invade Tokyo around this period, it would make it very difficult to keep up the image that they're purging Tokyo from the Yakuza, especially when they can just allow that to happen after Tokyo is long gone. That way they don't have to worry about violent clan wars, which is something that was even stated to be the case. Now, maybe you could make the argument that Aoki never actually fully eliminated Tojo until a little after the events of Judgment. However, that's not true. Aoki became the governor in 2017, and the events of Judgment took place in late 2018. This would mean that it took over a year for Aoki to meet his promise, which doesn't really add up, especially when you consider the statement from Adachi that Aoki never really gained any real support as governor until 2 years ago and appointed the destruction of the Tojo clan as the main cause. You see what I mean when I say that the Kamurocho 3K plan really fucks up the canonicity of both these games? It just doesn't make any sense for them to coexist. I mean, people can bring up the fact that both the Yakuza series and Judgment reference each other all day, but in the end, none of those references do anything to explain this massive conflict of events. There are some other things going against this theory, like the fact that the members of the Kyorei clan were getting captured and experimented in order to test out the AD9 vaccine, and what makes it even worse is the fact that the people kidnapping them were associated with the Matsugane family, a subsidiary of the Tojo clan, and this was all happening under the backup and supervision of the vice minister and the chief prosecutor. And yet, this is supposed to be the same setting where the government and the justice system are working against the Tojo clan and giving leeway to the Omi Alliance, even though it seems like the exact opposite is happening. I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure the Kyorei clan was just simply another Yakuza clan in Japan, much like Tojo and Omi, who, by the way, had their goals very much established in the game. The chairman wanted to buy out the drug development center and was interfered by the progress of the AD9 vaccine. scene. That's all we know from them. There's no evidence that they have any connections with the Omi Alliance, and when you start to look deep into things, it just makes less and less sense for them to have any association with them. In the meantime, all we have is Lost Judgment to potentially give us a clue as far as how the organized crime scene is structured in Tokyo. Until then, the question of whether or not Judgment is canon to Yakuza is still debatable. Anyways, have a nice day everyone.